Good morning, everybody. So we are not meeting for language arts this morning due to iLearn, but you do have this video that you can watch instead. So we are just reading this week's Wonder Story, The Big Blizzard. So this story is historical fiction. So that means that the events and the characters in this story did not actually exist. However, the story is taking place during a historical event that happened in New York in the year 1947. So that part is real. Just the characters themselves and the things that happen in the story did not necessarily happen, though they could have. Something similar could have happened in real life. So we're reading about this big snowstorm that actually happened in New York. It shut the city down. And we are reading a story about this particular little family here and how this storm affected them. So, with that, let's go ahead and dig into our story of the week, The Big Blizzard. Rosa and Eddie Hernandez huddled close to the radio and listened carefully to the scratchy voice of the news announcer. The blizzard of 1947 is the biggest snowstorm in New York City history. Tremendous amounts of snow and terrible weather conditions caused the city's subway system to shut down yesterday from Wall Street to Spanish Harlem. So I don't know if any of you have ever been to New York or a big city like New York City. Um, but a subway system, if you've never seen one or heard of one, think of it as like an underground train system. So New York is a huge city, and so not a lot of people have cars there, so they rely on the subway system to get around the city. Kind of like how some people here in Columbus, Indiana, rely on a bus. So with the subway system shut down, that means nobody has any way to get around. So that's a pretty big deal. Parents are even forbidding, meaning they are not letting their children to go outside because it is so dangerous. The weather forecast for today predicts that the snow will stop. In the meantime, Mayor O'Dwyer's message to all New Yorkers is this: help each other in the face of this disaster. "Oh, Mama," whispered Rosa, "will Papa ever get home from work?" Mama gave Rosa a big hug. "He must be stuck at work and unable to get home," she said. "He is stranded," meaning he's stuck somewhere. "But don't worry. The snow is slowing down now, and I'm sure he will make it home soon." Mama went into the kitchen to make lunch. She came out carrying her coat and scarf. "We are out of milk and bread, so I need to try to get to Maria's market," said Mama. Rosa and Eddie jumped up and begged to go with her. Mama had kept them inside for 2 days because it was snowing too hard to go out. "No," said Mama, "it's too cold." Rosa and Eddie knew they shouldn't argue with Mama, but they were tired of being indoors, which I'm sure some of you can relate to since you've been doing e-learning all year. "Oh, please, take us outside. We can all go to the store together," said Eddie. "Okay," said Mama with a sigh, "but we have to stick together and stay close to each other." Mama helped Rosa and Eddie bundle up in their uncomfortable but warm wool clothes. When they got outside, they were astonished. They were shocked and surprised and amazed to find a wall of snow several feet high. Luckily, their neighbor, Mr. Cologne, arrived with 2 metal shovels. Okay, um, so Columbus has not necessarily had a blizzard. We have had a lot of snow, so that's probably as close as we can relate to when it comes to a blizzard. So remember when we had that crazy snowstorm probably a few months ago, and our roads were covered in ice and snow, so no one was allowed to be out driving for a day or two. So it's kind of like that, only with a lot more snow, like several feet. So picture like snow up to your waist. That's what a blizzard is. It's like it's snowing and it's not stopping anytime soon. Who wants to help dig out? He asked. Mama, Rosa, and Eddie took turns shoveling snow. It was hard work, but no one fussed or complained. When they were done, they looked across the street. Maria's market was still snowed in. Mrs. Sanchez, the owner, was trying to clear the snow with a small broom. Yeah, so people who live in places that get blizzards, sometimes they can't even get out their own front doors because there's so much snow there. Mr. Colon, may we borrow your shovels, por favor? Asked Rosa. I think we need to give Mrs. Sanchez a hand. Shoveling the walk in front of the store was easy. It was a piece of cake for Rosa and Eddie, meaning it was really easy for them. They laughed and threw snowballs too. Mrs. Sanchez was grateful for their help. Gracias, she said, and gave Mama milk and bread from her store as thanks. As Rosa and Eddie crossed the snowy street with Mama to go home, they heard a deep, familiar voice. Is that my Rosa and Eddie? Papa! They shouted and ran over to him. Oh, he made it. Rosa told him breathlessly about how they helped Mr. Colon and Mrs. Sanchez. It is such relief and a comfort to finally be home, said Papa. I'm so proud of you for helping our neighbors. Yeah, so our essential question this week is, how does weather affect people? How does it affect our family? Well, as I mentioned before, Columbus hasn't had a blizzard like New York has, but we've had snow. We've had quite a bit of snow before, especially this year, and it has been dangerous enough that we haven't been able to leave or go out driving. It's not easy to get around in weather like that. And as we read here um, about Mr. Colon and Mrs. Sanchez, the owner of the market, there was so much snow that they had to shovel snow just to be able to get out of their homes or to get out of their store. So it definitely does affect people. It affects how we're able to go about our everyday lives. And we also read about how Rosa and Eddie here were very helpful to their neighbors, and they helped shovel the walk in front of the grocery store so that Mrs. Sanchez could get out of her door. Okay, so that is our story of the week. And you do have a few questions on It's Learning to answer about the story, so please make sure that you complete that on your own.